Wait, the week's over? Already? Oi, time for the news right here, right now. Greetings Rommies and welcome to RomRom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and to a regular news roundup. Welcome to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. If you have any news for us, send us a mail to news@romrom.net. What a week, huh? At least we had lots to do. The 1.4 of Automobilista 2 dropped, and during the week came some hot fixes for it, which we report about later in the video. F1 22 Manager came out and we'll have a review for that ready for you on Tuesday, and we had the first race in the Automobilista 2 Community Cup. If you missed it, go check the link up there. We had lots of fun commentating it, hopefully you'll have lots of fun watching it. At the moment, and after only the first race of 6, Drew faces at first, followed by Johnny B and Toka 2 Freak. I hear ya man, Toka 2 was a dream, with the Curb Clippers community amassing 86 points, AMS Unofficial 64 and the Phoenix Racing Club 57. As the community points are built up by 2 to 4 driver results per race, these may jump around wildly. The next opportunity to see the drivers of the AMS2CC live will be on the 20th of September from 2200 on CET. If the first race was anything to go by, you don't want to miss the next one. And Fanatec will become the exclusive hardware provider for the FIA Motorsports Game esports competition, which will take place at the end of October. The press release doesn't mention any financial transactions leading up to that decision, and Fanatec's press contact is difficult to reach at any time, so we can't give you any information one way or the other. September 7th will see the new Season 4 of iRacing starting, and with it the drop of new content, of which iRacing teases the Porsche Mission R, making it the first electric race car in the sim. Of course, iRacing will be making a single-make official racing series so that you buy the car and hopefully enjoy it. We're not sure if they just teased it for a later date or for this drop, but iRacing also talks about the Lucas Oil Speedway, which seems to be a dirt oval. Also, the Rudskogen Motor Center will be delivered for free to all those subscribed to iRacing. It's a Norwegian track open since 1990, which was Tilkenized in 2011. Not having ever driven the track, we don't know if Tilke made it worse or not. Away from the babysitting of the FIA, they may have even improved it. Also new and coming to iRacing in Season 4, but not for free, will be the great track of Oschersleben. And if you want to get a taste of what it looks like, check our test for the Automobilista mod. Links up there. Oschersleben is a difficult track to drive and master, it being a very technical track, but I personally love to drive it. We'll have more on the Season 4 changes within iRacing as soon as they make the release notes public, which we suppose will be on the 7th. Well, seems August was not too hot for most of us, or we were just acclimatized to the heat, as the number of sim racers went ever so slightly up from August. That can be seen also in the numbers for some of the sims. Of course, interest in Automobilista 2 has risen once again, though not to their highest numbers yet. We suppose the delivery of the 1.4 version and the resounding positive echo on the tubes and the twitches have done their part to give Automobilista 2 better numbers than in last month, and the 1,300 concurrent users on the day it dropped surely played their part. The hotter it gets, the more people want to see cars crash. At least that would be our comment, seeing the numbers from BeamNG and Wreckfest rise. But interestingly enough, also the numbers for R-Factor 2. Slightly, but they rose. Assetto Corsa Competizione, on the other hand, drops once again in what we would consider a trend, as the numbers have dropped since May. From a very high point, of course, Competizione being the third most used sim overall. We also see a trend in Raceroom, which despite dropping their version of a modern Formula 1 car this week, saw its worst usage numbers since we started collecting them almost a year and a half ago, continuing the downward spiral in which the sim seems to be trapped. Seems to be what happens when you deploy new content at a price but don't keep up with the times, your engine getting dated bit by bit, day by day, which is a pity as we love the sim, its force feedback and the sound design. But Reza they aren't, no big changes haven't been made to the underlying physics for a long while. Oh, and because they are being delisted, as we said last month, see the link up there, we're telling you Project Cars 2 still has 412 average monthly users, a number that has been declining month by month, but it's still robust. The F122 family of games saw some updates too this week. Let's start with F122 Manager. Newly fitted gearboxes were inheriting the wear and/or damage of the old one. Luckily, this has been corrected now. The cutscenes saw some corrections in the graphics and the camera position, and the logic of the commentators now doesn't mix up the front and the back of the grid. Also, if you double stack your pit stop, meaning you send both drivers into pits at the same time, now you should not have any graphics issues during the pit stop. Part of the past are different issues with the game not recognizing incomplete laps and using those times as qualifying time, with similar issues like drivers with only an out lap being shown at the top of the standings in practice, cars that DNF'd teleported repeatedly to pits, and cars in the garage triggered yellow flags after the end of the race, but now that's also in the past. They have balanced the probability of track incidents on Zandvoort, and the liveries of AlphaTauri and Red Bull saw some corrections. For PC players, many instances where the game froze irrevocably or only for a while have been corrected. With regards to F122, the racing game, EA deployed a stability fix this week to fix small issues with hiccups and freezes up to the game completely hanging up on PCs. And in case those don't help, they also gave tips on how to get rid of any issues you may have with that. Oh, and expect an extensive review of F122 Manager for Tuesday. Well, almost everyone else has the newest F1, don't call them F1 cars in, so it was time for Raceroom to publish them too, right? Meet the Formula Raceroom X22, which will set back your account by almost €8 USD or 779 VRP if you want to get all liveries, and that's with a 55% reduction of the price. With adjustable engine maps as well as MGUK maps, that's the electric engine to call it that, it features a halo for what we think is the first time in Raceroom, a halo that you can turn off if it hinders your visibility, though I've always found it easy to filter out the halo, so to speak, especially when racing in VR. Added to all that, this open wheeler also features an overtake mode, which you can activate using the push to pass key binding, but be aware the overtake mode is activated directly as it's not bound by any push to pass rules unlike other car series. The overtake mode sets your MGUK into the highest mode so as to allow you to overtake or defend from an overtake, but will empty your battery quite fast, of course, like it happens in real life F1. Also, be aware of the oomph it will bring to the torque, and to make it clear, you can have the MGUK being handled completely automatically by the sim. Now I know why I got myself a wheel with lots of buttons, including rotary buttons. Oh, and do we need to say it? Of course, these cars also feature a DRS system. If you call a motion rig your own, you may want to tone it down a bit, as the Formula Raceroom X22 features porpoising. Now, we don't know if this is a result of the physics like it happened to Reza's F1 Simile, or if it's programmed into the cars at a certain speed like it seems to be the case in the F122 racing game. Personally, I'm more interested in the rumors eagle-eyed fans have brought up that one of their next content drops is going to be trucks, rumors that are supported by new keybinds in the menu. For those who don't know, at least the European FIA trucks have a limited contingent of water that can be used to cool the brakes and are a part of the strategy when driving those monsters on track. Help us create the content you love and become a patron. Let us spread our wings. Amongst other perks, it will fix your name for posterity like this, but you'll also get to know what we plan and what we're doing. So a big thank you to our patrons. If you come here regularly, please consider subscribing. And we welcome the almost 100 new subs that came to us during this last week. Welcome to the family! After the very well received and rightfully so 1.4.1 drop of the sim, Razer has published already 3 hotfixes for it. Which is a little too much if you ask me, but no beta testing beats the testing of the general public. And we know for a fact this drop got extensive beta testing. Oh well, this is what the 3 hotfixes since Monday bring. A disconnected player would trigger a full course yellow, now not anymore. Also, they fixed many bugs and exploits regarding the full course yellow. Man, they spent so much time on it and still there were issues. The curse of developing something completely new, I suppose. So, full course yellow has been shaken up thoroughly and anything that fell down, swept and cleansed, let's put it that way. Also, the AI will now start considering full course yellow in their pitting strategy. As this is the first version of that logic, expect some changes over time. All of the FUSA cars got their aero corrected as well as a revision of the tire treads for the oval variants. Also, you will have to reset your setups for oval, as damping, gearing, ride heights and default wing settings were changed. And they checked the oil level while you weren't looking, we'd almost say. The F-Retro Gen 1 got also some adjustments on the tire tread and in the force feedback. Tire treads were also changed in kart rental, superkart, old stock and street tires, F-Trainer GT Classics, Opala Old Stock and all Caterhams save the Academy ones, which I think use street tires anyway. The Corvette C3R got the torque of the front brake adjusted, because we can't go even one update without some obscure physics correction that proves how much of a geek these guys are. Of course, they did some adjustments to the ADMD, the mechanical damage model for car internals, adjusting coolant, oil and turbo failure thresholds for all open-wheelers and for Group C cars. Also, the engine cooling has been improved on all engines and most of the open-wheelers saw a decrease of the dirty air effect in the cooling. And the M1 Pro car now also has a DMD. Razer seemed to have misplaced wet compounds for F-Razer and F-Ultimate Gen 2 cars. Now they found them and put them in the sim. And time trial leaderboards had an issue for a while, they should be okay now. Take note that the helmet livery customization is not ready yet, but will come in one of the next small updates. Many cars saw the AI corrected in small measure, especially in wet weather, with the karting classes seeing most of the deeper changes. Add to this also some assorted changes in the soundscape and some small corrections in a couple of tracks. The details of all the hotfixes are as always in the description of the video. With regards to the future of Automobilista 2, Razer are in license conversations with different license holders for the rights of official versions of some more items. And of course, as we already said, for IndyCar, but the licenses of different items would be independent of that. With regards to your personal future, you won't go wrong checking the playlist to the left or the video to the right. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.